How's it going, everyone? J-Star here, and welcome back to another Pokémon Aim to be a Pokémon Master episode review. If you missed last week's episode, make sure you check it out. We had the reintroduction of the Squirtle squad back into the anime, but this episode, in my opinion, isn't as good as last week's episode. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple good parts in this episode that happens, but I do feel like that last week's was a bit better. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode review. So this week's episode opens up with Ash and Pikachu relaxing. Brock and Misty starting to cook some food, and then all of a sudden Team Rocket come in and try to take Ash and Pikachu away. Ash then brung out his Snivy, which was very, very good to see, and the only one of Ash's old Pokemon making a return in this week's episode. But Ash brought out Snivy, managed to cut the net, saving Ash, but Pikachu got stuck in their net and went with Team Rocket. While Team Rocket are blasting off, another explosion happens, and Jesse James and Wobbuffet go one way, while Meowth and Pikachu go a different way. Which means today is another one of those lost episodes. We find out that Ash and Pikachu can sense each other and start heading towards each other. Along Pikachu and Meowth's journey, they meet a Caterpie, and Ash meets a Rattata and a Spearow. As nighttime falls, Ash and Pikachu look at the balloon, and this is the best part of the episode because we get some old clips of Ash and Pikachu together, all the way back from the very first episode, right the way to them winning the Masters 8 tournament. But yeah, definitely the best part of this week's episode. Eventually, as the morning came, Ash and Pikachu managed to find each other. However, because they're running to each other and jumping to each other's arms, they fall off a cliff. However, instead of going splat on the ground, Latias is there to save them. However, Latias stays invisible, which means Ash and Pikachu still don't know that it was Latias that saved them and thought they just magically appeared back on top of the cliff. Team Rocket then arrive and find Meowth, and that's basically where the episode ends. Like I said, not one of the best episodes. Not many big points I wanted to cover in this week's episode. One point I did like was the fact that Latias making a return finally. It's not just sitting there above watching Ash and Pikachu doing whatever they're doing. But other than that, nothing really else interesting happened. Actually, the bit where Ash and Pikachu are staring up at the moon and it's playing all of them old clips from the anime was really, really good to see. It was good how the clips were in the moon. It did show from Ash and Pikachu's very first meeting all the way up to them winning the Master 8 tournament. You also saw them taking on different Pokemon. So I think you saw a Raichu there. You saw them. Pikachu was taken over by Team Plasma. It was really good to see them bringing back all these clips and not changing it so it's Journey's art style. They're keeping it how the original art style was. So I think the rating I'm going to give this week's episode is a 7 out of 10. It's a lost episode, which means it's not going to get a 10 out of 10. And the only reason it's 7 is because Latias did something properly this time. And the fact that the clips where Pikachu and Ash were looking at the moon and we had the clips of them together, but from like the old seasons, that was really, really good as well. Plus the visuals weren't that bad. The bit where Pikachu and Meowth were getting chased by Gyarados was pretty good animated. But other than that, nothing else really was great about it. So I think that's where I'm going to end this episode off. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter video. In fact, looking at my recording, a very, very short video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Hit that thumbs up button if you want me to continue these. And finally, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'll see you next week with the return of Lapras.